Yo, what is up? Welcome to my channel. I'm Rodney. Today I'm doing a quick video on the full review of the MITAS E-07 Plus. MITAS, MITAS E-07 Plus, whatever you want to call it. But this is considered a 50-50 off-road tire. And in my personal opinion, I would agree with that. I know this 50-50 and 70-30 and 90-10 isn't really a set standard. It's just what manufacturers like to say for themselves. So a manufacturer can make a tire and label it whatever they want. But I think this MITAS E-07 Plus is actually a 50-50 tire. I'm going to get into a few pros and a few cons and decide whether this tire is for you or not. I really like the way it performed. It's decent on tarmac. I would say it's a little more biased towards tarmac. Now, as you can see here, it's got these big chevrons, and they're pretty good for tarmac. And I am wore down here. You can see this is pretty worn out, and I'm pretty much to the wear indicator. I don't know if you can see that. Pretty much to the wear indicator. Yeah, I can't see it, but I'm pretty much down to the wear indicator. And this is 5,000 miles on this tire. That's one of the cons. I wish it lasted a little longer. It does wear out kind of fast. Is it as bad as some other tires? No, but I wish it was a little longer. It has nice side bite on it. You can see I'm really not getting down in there. I'm not super aggressive off-road yet. The big chevrons, it's got some decent space between the chevrons, so it does give traction and stuff. Now, I think this is a good tire for like dry conditions. For me in the desert, it's really good. It's dry, rocky, it's pretty good. Basically, anything wet, this tire is going to struggle. You get it in any kind of mud, it's going to struggle just because of the big chevrons. They don't really bite in. They're good for tarmac, but they don't really bite in. And then even like wet grass, it's just not really going to bite in that a whole lot. So this is really good for 50-50 conditions, on-road, off-road. But the off-road is really like dry, rocky stuff. Well, how will it do in deeper stuff? If it's new, it'll do fairly decent. But as soon as it starts getting worn out, it just doesn't work as well. It just doesn't bite in. One other con that I don't like is I wish the rear had more grip off-road. It really doesn't hook up real good off-road. It's not a big deal because you don't mind that on the rear because you want your rear to slide a little bit. It's not that big of a deal that it doesn't hook up real well off-road. It still gives me enough traction to get up stuff and go through sand and stuff, loose gravel. But I wish it had more grip. I can't pull a wheelie with this off-road because it just doesn't have enough grip. But pros about it, it's got an excellent front tire on it. But this front tire is excellent. It's got nice side bite. You can see I still got the things on here because once again, I don't get that aggressive. This tire is pretty narrow, so it helps. This tire just tracks real well through a lot of dry stuff. It's got side bite, so when you get up on the edges, it does real well. It has a lot of life left. These front tires have 5,000 miles on it, and there's plenty of life left. I'm going to change these out and get some new tires, but I am going to keep this front tire and probably go with it later. I'm very happy with the front tire, and to me, that's important. The front tire is important. This front tire is phenomenal. It tracks well. It handles great off-road. It's got side bite for off-road. On tarmac, it turns in real good. It's got plenty of grip. It doesn't howl or anything on the highway. Excellent front tire, excellent front tire. Now, would I buy another set of these? I would buy another set of these over any kind of street tire that are claiming off-road. Any 90-10, 80-20, even 730. I would buy a 50-50 over any of those again. Just because off-road, the front tire, this front tire is way better than all those. That's why they're not a 50-50, because of the front tire. It's important to run a pretty decent, aggressive front tire to run off-road. This tire is pretty good for all around. Now let's run through some pros. Like, they're not loud. They handle real well on tarmac. They grip in the, I can't say they grip in the rain because I haven't run into any rain. I did 5,000 miles on these tires and I didn't get any rain out here in the desert. They grip real well on the tarmac. They grip pretty decent off-road. The front tire is pretty awesome. And the rear tire I wish had a little more hookup, but it's not a deal breaker because I don't mind a little looser in the rear or a little less grip in the rear just to help you slide your rear around. Not that I'm to the point where I'm sliding my rear all around, but you're working towards that, right? At least I'm working towards that. But and then a few cons. I wish it lasted a little longer. What did we get down to? Some 5,000 miles, basically 3,500. My tread was gone, and then the last 1,500, I'm just running it down to the wear indicator. Am I totally down to the wear indicator? Not yet, but I'm going to Colorado, which I'm super stoked about this week, so I'm going ahead and changing them out so I can have fresh tires for that long haul. Another thing I heard people complain about is that these kind of allow air to seep out. So you have like a slow leak the whole time you have them. Now, some people say they've had that. I've heard a couple people say that. I had that, but I felt like it was my rims. I had air slowly leaking out of the front tire on this, so I checked my spokes, and I had 2 loose spokes. I'm not sure that my rim's bent, but it might be a little bit, but I tightened those spokes up, and I still have a little bit of air leaking out. People say that. I don't know whether that's the tire or my rims. Now, I had a little bit leak out of both the whole time I had them, the front and the rear. The front more so than the rear. Now, that could be my rims and not the tires. But when I put new tires on, Anarchy Wilds, I'm going to see if that goes away or not. But I've heard of other people complaining about that with this tire. I think another pro to talk about is, I think the sidewall is pretty rigid. Now, this isn't the Dakar style version, which they do make, which is even a harder sidewall. But this sidewall is pretty sturdy. I don't know how hard to mount they are because I'm not mounting, I'm just paying for that shit. But you can feel it. When you go over hard rocks, you can feel you can tell it's not like the street tires, like the 90-10s or even the 80-20s where it just smashes through. Like this, you feel like it's stiffer, and you can tell it's stiffer. And for me, that's more comforting knowing that like I'm protecting my rims. So that's definitely a positive. I think for me, I'm going to say for most people, this is a really good tire for what you're doing. If you're doing any kind of off-road, I really recommend a 50-50, and I think these will help for most people. If you're doing mostly on-road and you're not off-road, then like, yeah, I get it. But if you're doing half and half, this is a true half and half. So like, I think a lot of people would like these tires. Like I said, I got 5,000 out of the rear. For me, that's fairly decent. I would like a little more, but usually the more grip and performance you get, the less life you get out of it, right? The harder they are, the less grip they get, the longer they last. So it's a trade-off. If they're performing, they're going away fast, plain and simple. These perform pretty well, and they lasted 5,000. That's my full review of the MITAS E-07 Plus. I think it's a pretty good tire overall. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.